Hello, dear friends. Shabbat Shalom. How are you today? I'm Mark Golub. So happy to have a few moments just to be with you for Shabbat. I hope you're all continuing to do well, that you're feeling well, and that the strain of this pandemic is not too hard on you. And I certainly hope JBS is making it easier for you, that you enjoy much of the programming, if not all of the programming that we feature every day. And this week, we had some explosive programming. Many of you may have seen it. Others of you may not have seen it. It dealt with an op-ed piece that was published in the New York Times a couple of weeks ago by Peter Beinart, in which the longtime critic of Israel and a darling of the Jewish left, who, by the way, has also been accorded enormous respect from the Jewish establishment. Peter shocked the Jewish world by declaring he no longer believes in a Jewish state. Peter Beinart, a modern Orthodox Jew who's always claimed to be a passionate Zionist, devoted to the survival and well-being of the state of Israel. He publishes a long piece explaining why he now believes the state of Israel should turn off the lights and shut down, to be replaced by a sort of binational state, which it would share with the Palestinians from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, that this new polity Beinart would call Israel-Palestine, and the Jewish people would have a homeland, but not a sovereign state of their own. So when Beinart came out with this bombshell, we invited him to come on JBS and explain how could he possibly betray Israel and the Jewish people this way. Beinart politely declined, saying he was too busy. Okay. So again, many of you may have seen, we had Daniel Gordis on JBS ripping Beinart's proposal to shreds. And we had Alan Dershowitz on, also tearing into Beinart and his ludicrous idea and outrageous betrayal. So then Peter Beinart said he would be on JBS, and I agreed to have him on. I received emails from viewers asking me, how in the world could I have such a traitor on JBS? And then when I did have him on, I didn't berate him. I didn't yell at him. I didn't try to humiliate him. I simply talked to him. Like everyone says they believe people should speak with one another. More to the point, I didn't argue with Peter, which made many, many viewers very angry at me. But you know, first of all, I have to be me. And I try my best to be as honest as I can possibly be. I do not believe Peter Beinart is an evil man who secretly hopes for an end to the Jewish people. You have every right to disagree with me, but I feel that Peter is a terribly, terribly misguided person who honestly believes in his heart that he's doing what's best for the Jewish people. Now, I think he's wrong. 100% wrong. I think he's also a bit mad. But I don't believe he's malevolent, that he has malevolent intentions, that he would, as one viewer posted on Facebook, work hard to help finish the work of the Nazis. The Nazis. Now, to me, that's insane. Peter Byron has no desire to murder Jews or to see the Jewish people destroyed. He simply doesn't see the truth of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the essence of which is that the Palestinians are at war with the state of Israel, at war, and have been since before the state was established in 1948. And here's what so many people also fail to understand about Peter Beinart, and that is, Peter has an answer for any argument one throws at him. He is a master, a maestro, who has a noble sounding response to every factual point you can make about the intransigence of the Palestinians and their refusal to accept the legitimacy of any Jewish state anywhere in Eretz Yisrael. So what good would it do to argue with Peter Beinart and to let him engage in a sophistry that bears no relation to reality? Nothing I would say, nothing Daniel Gorda says, nothing Alan Dershowitz says, nothing anybody says ever moves Peter or changes his mind. So on the one hand, I understand Peter means no ill to anyone. He is, in fact, a very lovely person, one-on-one. You may hate his views on Israel, feel that by his calling for an end to the state of Israel, he's a traitor to the Jewish people who has betrayed not only his people, but Jewish history itself. That's how wrong I believe Peter to be. But it doesn't make him a Nazi. It doesn't mean he wants Jews destroyed. He just doesn't understand what giving up the Jewish state of Israel would mean to the Jewish future, to Jewish spiritual and even physical survival. But it's not personal. This isn't about Peter's soul. It's about his intellect. It's about a failure of intellect. And it's also about whatever ghosts haunt him, perhaps from his childhood. So I had no reason to be mean to him, nor was I going to engage in his sophistry. I had one goal in mind. I understand many JBS viewers wanted me to have a different goal, to tear him apart on screen, on JBS. But I had one goal in mind. I wanted Peter to hear the question and have to answer the question. How could you? How could you spit in the eye of people you love by saying there should be no more Israel? And if you watch my conversation with Peter, you saw my last words to him, that he may one day come to understand. He did not simply betray us. and the state of Israel and the people of Israel. He may one day come to understand he betrayed his grandchildren and his God. And that's all anyone should have wanted from my exchange with Peter Beinart. And if you know anything about Peter, and you watched his body language throughout our conversation, he had none of the bravado that typifies his persona. So Gordis and Dershowitz, they eviscerated his ludicrous position. And he'd seen them both. And nothing he said to me touched the points Gordis and Dershowitz made in their chastening of him. So as wrong as Peter was in his thinking and in his decision to publish his piece, which will only be used by the enemies of Israel to further castigate and undermine the Jewish state, my goal was simply to have him confront the real sin of his piece, spitting in the face of people he loves. And for that, he really had no answer. Now, this entire Beinart flap has generated such heat and controversy that we will be replaying the entire picture for you this Sunday and Monday afternoon. You can first see my conversation with Peter. Then you can see how Daniel Gordis and Alan Dershowitz tear Peter's thesis apart. And then you can decide if JBS was too easy on Peter or not. Obviously, I think not. And as a footnote, in case any of you are wondering about the future, Peter Beinart will not be seen again on JBS in any form, unless and until he comes to the Jewish community and to the people of Israel, the people of Israel, the people of Israel. And he says to them and to us that he made a terrible, terrible mistake, which he regrets with every fiber of his Jewish soul, and that he is eternally committed, once again, to an enduring, sovereign Jewish state of Israel. I want to touch on one more piece of mail I received this week. It's from Palm Beach County, and it asks, why are you not broadcast by Comcast Xfinity Cable in Palm Beach County, Florida? The JLTV available to us pales by comparison. Well, I've said before, we receive emails from Comcast Xfinity customers every week, sometimes daily. JBS is the only English language educational, cultural Jewish channel on American television anywhere in the world. JBS is on virtually every major television provider in America. We reach some 65 million American homes. We legitimately estimate that between 500,000 and 600,000 homes watch JBS each month. That is an astounding number of viewers, unheard of on the American Jewish scene. JBS is the only channel on American television with the extensive news and events coverage, with Jewish studies, like Mordechai Becker's Dimensions of the Daf, or my own Jewish 101. We are the television home of the 92nd Street Y. And we have both a beautiful Reform Shabbat service every Friday night and Saturday morning from Central Synagogue, and a gorgeous Orthodox Kabbalat Shabbat and Saturday morning Shabbat service from the Hampton Synagogue. So our viewers can experience the different expressions of Jewish life and Jewish prayer every week. And that's only part of JBS programming. So it's simply unfathomable that Comcast, which reaches more major Jewish communities than any other television provider, has yet to add JBS to their channel lineup. So if you're a Jew in Boston, Chicago, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Houston, San Francisco, Seattle, and Palm Beach, Florida, or Sarasota or Naples, Florida, and you have Comcast Xfinity, you can't watch or enjoy or learn from the one channel on American television that expands Jewish understanding and celebrates all things Jewish. And why am I telling you who are watching JBS right now? Why am I telling you about this? Because you don't have Comcast, you watch on some other television provider. I'm telling you for two reasons. One, you may have family or good friends with Comcast whom you know would love to watch JBS if Comcast added JBS. Encourage them to be in touch with their local Comcast office and to complain that they can't watch JBS, that they want JBS. And second, if any of you have any pull or influence with the people of Comcast, with the Roberts family, for example, please use your influence to help persuade the powers that be at Comcast to do the responsible thing and to add JBS before the high holidays, which would be a wonderful gift and service to their paying customers. And if you can help us, I and the entire JBS team will be most grateful. Speaking of the high holidays, for anyone who may be wondering, of course JBS will be televising high holiday services from both Central Synagogue and Hampton Synagogue. So don't worry. Even as you're still at home fighting the coronavirus, JBS will provide you with a way to enjoy and participate in the Jewish high holy days. So no one sent me any community announcements this week, but remember, if you want me to read a name for a Misha Berach or a Yortzeit or a Simcha, simply email me at jbscommunity@jbstv.org or write me at Post Office Box 360, Stamford, Connecticut 06904, and I will be honored to read any name on JBS. And so until the next time, I'm Mark Golub. Stay safe and be well, my friends. Shabbat Shalom.
We would be pleased to send a complimentary DVD of this program to anyone who wishes to support JBS with a tax-deductible gift of $36, double chai or more. Simply visit the JBS website at jbstv.org and click on the Donate button to make a donation by PayPal or your credit card. And please indicate the program for which you would like a DVD. Or you can send your tax-deductible check to JBS, Post Office Box 360, Stamford, Connecticut 06904. Or you can call the JBS Pledge Line at 833-MY-JBS-TV. That's 833-695-2788. And again, please remember to indicate which program you would like to receive with our compliments. We thank you for your kind support.